In 2001, my family experienced a great tragedy when my brother, who was 21 at the time, passed away very suddenly. I really watched my mom have to obviously be rocked by grief and shock in dealing with this tragedy, but also in the middle of all of that and trying to plan a funeral, we had to figure out what to do with all of his stuff. And there was nothing, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to get into his bank account. We didn't know what we were going to do to sell his vehicle. There were so many loose ends that we didn't know how to handle. And so when I opened my law practice, it was important for me to provide estate planning services to families. And that was really born out of what happened in my own family. And I came to realize that creating an estate plan really isn't about you as much as it's about what you're leaving behind for your loved ones. And it's really last loving gift we can leave our family after we're gone. And so I find a lot of fulfillment in helping families set up their estate plans. But the problem is a lot of people don't really understand what estate planning is because they just think, oh, it's a will or it's a trust, and don't only just rich people have trust. And the reality is literally everybody, even my 21-year-old brother, could have used an estate plan. A will and a trust is only one piece of that puzzle. There are also other documents that are included in a typical estate plan in Florida. Those include your power of attorney, your healthcare surrogate, a living will. All of these documents comprise your estate plan. And so we work with families to create these so that they can really have a peace of mind. I bet you, if you're listening to this video, you had creating a will or a trust on your to-do list literally for years. And it's something that all of us put it off. We all procrastinate because really thinking about our death is not exactly on the top of our list. And because we don't know a lot about it, we just procrastinate. So what we try to do is really make it less overwhelming, really clear the decks so that you understand it's actually a pretty straightforward process. And in fact, if you have minor children or you have recently gone through a divorce, you need an estate plan more than anything. A trust will actually allow you, if let's say you're married and you and your husband decide to go on a anniversary trip to Portugal and the plane goes down and you both perish. Obviously, very unlikely to happen, but if something like that did happen, do you have a plan in place for your minor children? Who's going to take care of them? Do you have a set of funds set aside for the person that would take care of them so that they can make sure that your children continue to live at the level that they became accustomed to while you and your spouse were living? So that's just one thing that we deal with. If you have gone through a divorce, a lot of people don't know your divorce does not automatically make your older will that you might have made null and void. You literally have to create a new will if you've gotten a divorce. And so that's one thing that we definitely work with our family law clients to create their estate plan once their divorce is over. Other documents that go into your estate plan don't even have to do with your death. Those have to do with what happens if you become incapacitated. So think of if you were to get into a coma, if you develop dementia and you weren't able to make decisions for yourself, or maybe you get caught up in another country traveling and because of a natural disaster, you can't get home. The Florida Power of Attorney allows you to elect someone to make financial decisions for you. The healthcare surrogate form, very similar, allows you to elect someone to make healthcare decisions for you. And then we include the living will. A living will is, if you remember back in the 90s, there was a famous case involving a woman named Terry Schiavo. If you're old like me, you might remember that case. What happened was she became in a persistent vegetative state and her husband wanted to pull the plug and her parents did not. And so this fight over what to do went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Ms. Schiavo did not leave her wishes known in writing before she got into that state. So in Florida, we created a living will, which allows you to take that burden off of your loved ones. You're going to say now, while you're of sound mind and body, hey, don't keep me on life support. After 2 independent physicians declare that you are in persistent vegetative state. So that's just one example of you're unburdening your loved ones with having to make really tough decisions for keeping you on or off life support. And then also in setting out a set of instructions, because really all a trust is a set of instructions to explain how you want things to be carried out once you're gone. I know estate planning isn't fun to think about. Nobody likes thinking about what it's going to be like when they're gone and leaving their loved one behind. But what I learned from losing my brother and watching what my family went through is that creating an estate plan is the most loving thing you could do for them. We make the process quick. We make it easy. We make it clear. We try to take the overwhelm out of it so you can finally get it off of your to-do list and not end up in probate court, because that's the other side of this, is that if you don't leave anything in place for your family, they're going to end up in court when you're gone and spending money with lawyers and dealing with the judge and having strangers make decisions for you. But if you set aside the time to take care of this now, you can have that peace of mind of knowing your affairs will stay out of court, they will remain private, and your wishes will be carried out, and you will unburden your family with having to be left with all of that overwhelm when you're gone, and they can just focus on their grief. That's what I wish my mom would have had when she and I lost my brother, and it's what I hope I can provide to your family if we're able to work together to create an estate plan.